Hello, everyone, and welcome to GSA's Celeste 10% debut tournament. Today we are in round two, and we have two top-tier runners here, Psyched versus Maya Undefined. Since we are in round two, the competition is getting a lot more competitive. Both these runners have times that are, I think, about a minute and a half apart, so we're definitely going to see some stiff competition here. Both runners have opted out of the pre-race interview, probably to focus on their gameplay. So we should be ready to start momentarily. Also, while we're waiting, I think the big question on everyone's mind here is, well, besides who is going to win, is who is going to take the 5B route. If you don't know, I think 2 days ago, a new exploit in the game has actually just been discovered where you can actually skip the ridiculously hard corner boost, and you can go for a cutscene transition instead. So that has definitely made it a more practical choice, but it is still risky being 5B that it is. So it'll be interesting to see what the runners choose to do here. And it looks like we are off, and we're getting synced up to begin with. Hopefully we'll see pretty standard prologues from both runners. Just a little game of hopscotch before climbing a mountain. If you don't know, the reason why the runners are bouncing there is because we haven't actually learned to dash yet. But now that that little bird has taught us to dash, we are going to be using it in all sorts of different ways. There's lots of speed tech in this game that you'll see highlighted during the city section of the run here. Okay, and we are off. Looks like Maya Undefined is taking a bit of a lead on City. Although one screen on City is definitely not as long as one screen in some of the other chapters in the game, so whatever leads here you see are definitely subject to change pretty soon. Okay, both runners finishing up City now and going on to Old Site. This is a chapter that really highlights some of the technicality, and you'll especially see at the end of it. There's a section. There's lots of sections that it's easy not to die, but it's easy to lose time just from getting stuck on some of the terrain. We've also got these green blocks which you can dash through. A very fun mechanic. And also on Psyched, how do you say that? Psyched screen, you see a battle line who follows you around and does exactly what you do. So it creates some interesting puzzles where you have to backtrack on your path, and it's really tight timing. And Sight taking a death there on the longest room in Old Sight, although it was a pretty early death, so. And both runners are finishing up the dream section now, heading into Awake. Sect is in Awake already. This is one of the most technically difficult parts of the chapter, even though you can't actually die. But Sect is demonstrating phenomenal movement through this section, and so is Maya Undefined. Okay, now both runners will be going into Resort, only a few seconds apart from each other. Resort being one of the more difficult chapters in the run, because we've got these dust bunnies that are on cycles. And it looks like Maya is taking a few deaths in this room. This one can be tricky. It's one of the harder rooms in the chapter, and it's the first indoor room that we get in Resort. By taking another death there too. And Sect is coming up in a few screens to the Big Mess section, which is another place where you can't die, but it's very tricky to move through all these boxes and blankets and books and the big mess that Oshiro has left for us to clean up. Okay, good. He gets the cutscene transition there without killing himself, which has been known to happen. And that's a first try spike jump from Psyched. Although at this caliber, runners, it's probably not expected that they're gonna miss too many spike jumps. So this section of the run that the runners are in, you can hit these buttons to help clean up the mess that Oshiro has made. And technically you can do these in any order, although the main order that runners choose to go through is boxes first, and then books, then the laundry room. And the reason for this is because when you're done with each section, it puts you right in front of Oshiro when you get to the big mess section, so it requires less navigation of that room. So it looks like Maya is reaching the laundry section just as Psyched is finishing it. So Psyched has taken a somewhat substantial lead, but it's definitely not something that Maya can't come back from. Oh, it's like missing the coins there. This room can be tricky for speedrunners. And are we going to see a demo dash from Psyched? He takes the checkpoint and he is going to attempt demo dash. Luckily, this is a trick that saves time even if you don't get it the first try. Although he's taken 3 deaths so far. Okay. So it's a 4th try demo dash. I don't know if that saves or loses time. It kind of depends on the setup. But we'll see if Maya can capitalize off of that and catch up a bit here. Psyched is in the Oshiro section of the fight. This is where the hotel manager chases us across the rooftop of the resort. It's a very dramatic scene. And also a very dramatic place to speedrun because Oshiro mixed with the dust bunnies can really mess you up if you get off cycle here. Okay, second, in the final room of Oshiro. This is one of the most costly rooms to die in the early game. But makes it through alright. It looks like with an 841. Oh, and Maya is taking those springs there. I don't know if that was intentional or her actual strat. Not too much of a time difference, though. Meanwhile, Psyched is onto the ridge section, where we've got clouds and wind. Who knows why the developers chose to pair those two mechanics together? It creates for some pretty tough, pretty difficult gameplay. We've also got auto-scrollers in this section, which can be a huge time sink if you don't find strategies to get past them. Luckily, we've got quite a few auto-scroller skips. But they can also be very difficult to pull off and very punishing if you fail them. This is the first big auto-scroller skip that Sect is on here. Oh, it looks like he took a death there. I actually couldn't see because my feed cut out. Okay, but he does get the Ultra Strat on that room second try. And Maya's coming up on her first auto-scroller skip. Takes a safety strat, but gets the first try, so props her for that. And Psyched is coming to the harsh section, or the harsh wind section of Ridge. This is particularly difficult for casual players because it's almost impossible to move without dashing. You can move like a few pixels per second, maybe. It's kind of difficult to notice that in speedruns, though, because the movement tech that we're using just makes everything so fast. It's like struggling a bit with the snowballs in this room. It can be tricky. The snowballs act kind of like mini Oshiros, but they're going the other direction. And getting off cycle can really wreak havoc on your run. But he does eventually get through it, and he's finishing up the last final couple screens here before moving on to Mirror Temple. So Sect is done with Ridge, and Maya is, I believe, catching up a bit here. Yeah, that did look like Maya was catching up. They were both at the chapter transition at the same time, although briefly. So now the big question is, are Sect and Maya going to go for 5B? And we'll find out when it comes time to get the cassette tape. There's a point at which the paths diverge, and then you can tell which strat that each runner is going for. And Psyched gets Yeet first try. It's a very difficult strat involving corner boost, but it looks fantastic when you get it. He does not go for double bolt skip. And it looks like Maya Undefined is going for 5B, so it looks like she is opting to take a much riskier route here, but it could definitely reverse the outcome of this game and give her probably a substantial lead. Okay, so Maya has gotten the cassette, and now she's actually leaving the chapter in order to go do the B-side. So for those who don't know, the B-side is incredibly difficult. It's a sort of alternate version of the level, but with the speedrunning strats that these top-tier runners use, it is actually faster if you are able to execute it properly. And here is the scene transition that's going to make the difference. Or, I'm sorry, what am I saying? It's after this next screen. So here's the scene transition, and she gets it, first try. So normally what happens there is if you transition to that scene normally, you'll actually get stuck. But if you jump at, during the first scene of that, or the first frame of that screen, then you'll actually go back down, and you'll be spawned in an ideal position to skip a large portion of the B-side. Of course, with these runners doing different strats like this, it's very difficult to tell who's in the lead right now, but we'll find out when the runners get to the reflection part of the run. This could also make things very interesting if Maya comes out in the lead here. Psyched is on the Theo section of the A side. Oh, Maya taking an unfortunate death of that Seeker. That is a very difficult strat where you actually need to use the Seeker's explosion to propel yourself to the end. Gets it second try. And Psyched is in the final two rooms. I don't play the B-sides well enough to know how far Maya is from finishing. Oh, okay. I thought Theo was just going to rest on that ledge, which would have been pretty catastrophic since it would require resetting the screen, which is a pretty penalizing one. And Psyched is out of Mirror Temple, as Maya is, I believe... Okay, yeah, this is the final screen. So it looks like if Maya wasn't able to catch up a bit here, she was at least able to hold her ground with the B-sides. So definitely major props for that, because that is incredibly difficult. Chapter 6 Reflection introduces a feather mechanic, where you can kind of fly around at will. It's also different if you're using a keyboard versus controller, because the feather actually accepts omnidirectional input. So if you have an analog stick, then it's easier to get more fluid control of the feather sometimes. One reason why many people prefer controllers over keyboards. Although keyboards are also definitely more than adequate to speedrun with, as many of the top runners still use keyboard. Reflection is also a chapter that features some bumpers, which can be very difficult to use. It's very sensitive on where you hit the bumper, depending, or it greatly affects the outcome of where the bumper will send you. So a lot of the time, this chapter feels like playing pinball. Okay, Sect is coming up on the ravine portion. These are some screens that are very penalizing if you die on them, especially if you take the developer shortcuts but not the checkpoint here. And Sect does take the risky strat there, makes it through perfectly fine. Meanwhile, Maya close on his heels. And we'll see if we can get a battle in boost from Psyched. Yep, perfect battle line boost. Looks like Maya does take the checkpoint on that ravine section, also gets the first try. And both runners are in the battle line section. This is the biggest boss fight of the game. And it involves lots of dashing toward the ground. Whenever you run into battle line there, she kind of throws you up in the air, which being in the air just hanging like that wastes a lot of time. So yeah, you'll see a lot of dashing toward the ground just so that you can get your dash back and use that fast movement tech. It looks like Maya is holding her ground pretty well on this chapter too. It looks like this will come down to Summit, and Maya definitely does stand a chance if she has a really phenomenal Summit or if Psych makes a mistake. Oh, and Psych does take pretty bad death there. The last few screens of Battle Line are pretty long, so... Although, actually, these aren't the last few screens. We're going into the remix portion now. I make that mistake way too often. Okay, now Psyched is in the last screen of Battle Line, or at least the last screen of Battle Line before getting his second dash, moving on to Summit. Oh no! He took an advanced strat there and he died at the very end of the last screen. Yeah, Maya is definitely closing the gap here. We'll see if it's enough. But this is going to be some stiff competition going into Summit. And Maya has actually passed Psyched. This is definitely anyone's race at this point. Those were some very unfortunate deaths from Psyched there. And both runners finishing Reflection within seconds of each other. And it looks like we're getting a sync here. So we'll be able to see in real time who's ahead. Now the first part of Summit, it features several sort of variations on the previous chapters, each about a minute long in the speedrun. You'll see that Maya is in the city portion here, except just on her heels. Of course, with the second dash that we have, the level design has become much more difficult. You definitely need to utilize both of those dashes. And both runners are entering the 1,000 meter. Still within seconds of each other. It's very likely that this race is gonna... Oh no. Okay, yeah. Maya takes the springboard, getting her dash back there. But does take an unfortunate death here. Oh, and Psyched as well. both runners on the same screen. It would not be surprising if this run comes down just to the 3,000 meters. And they are almost perfectly synced up now. Oh, it's like taking a death on the first screen there. Not a very costly one, luckily. And we'll see how the rest of this section goes. The 1,500 meter is one of the most challenging the most challenging sections of the summit chapter. Sec taking another death there. Maya makes it through without triple ultra strat. I don't know if that was improvised. Okay, and Maya is just slightly ahead out of 1,500. Still anyone's race. We'll see if both runners get auto-scrollers to get first try. That could definitely solidify a significant lead. This snowball room can also be brutal. Oh, it looks like Maya actually took an... Oh, no, yeah, Maya died on the snowball room, so she is behind for auto-scroller skip. Sect. Oh, man. Playing with me there. He gets the auto-scroller skipped, but misses the wall bounce twice, so now they're still neck and neck. Yep, and they are still with like almost perfectly synced coming out of the 2,000 meter. Now the 2,500 has lots of risky strats like door skip, thread the needle, and dying on those can definitely set you back, and they only save a second or two, but that second might be the difference. What I find interesting about this is that although Maya caught up from her previous deficit, it doesn't actually seem to be the 5B route that's done it. It may have helped a little, but it's really just getting that consistency and fluid movement that has caught her up this whole time. And both runners are still only about a second apart. It looks like Maya has a slight lead, but it's all going to come down to 3,000 meters now. Now, downdraft is one of the most technically challenging parts of the 3,000 meters. You've got wind pushing you down, which makes a lot of the inputs a lot more tight. Oh, and I think I missed a couple of deaths from Psyched. Maya could very well take this one, if she doesn't die on some of the hard flags. I want to say it's about a 5-6 second difference. Okay, in the next two flags, I'm going to be holding my breath here. These can be extremely costly. Especially flag 13. And Maya gets through it just fine. Oh, it looks like Psyched has actually gained time though. I missed what happened there. Okay, final 6 flags for both runners. Psyched taking a slight lead. Oh, this is so close. And Psyched does win the race by mere seconds. That was absolutely phenomenal to watch. And yeah, although Maya did lose, I would not be surprised if there is an upset next race and we get 3 races out of this, or if Maya does come back and win the next 2. This was incredibly close and incredibly fun to watch. So we're going to give both runners a little breather here, and we'll come back hopefully with some more excitement. Okay, looks like we're back. Both runners have been given the file name, and we will begin our second race shortly. Hopefully nerves aren't too high to cause a lot of problems in this race. If I were a runner right now, I would be incredibly nervous, but hopefully these two can work it to their advantage. And if Maya does win this one, then we will be moving on to a third race as a tiebreaker. That would be incredibly fun to watch. But it looks like Psyched is going to be trying to close this off and solidify its position moving into the third round. Both runners are ready, and we are going to begin shortly. And Maya has started. Once we get Psyched in, we're going to get a sync. Yeah, so Maya's paused right now. And we are synced and ready to go. Good prologues from both runners, no deaths there. And a little word of encouragement from the developers. Okay, so moving into city, it looks like Psych began a little before Maya, which doesn't change the in-game time, but just something to be wary of. If both runners have an equal city, then Psych should come out of here a little ahead, actually, in real time. Okay, a little hesitation with that extended hyper on Psyched. And it looks like Maya is taking the lead for City. If she can get that, yeah, okay. And moving on to Old Site. It's important to note that as close as the last race was, Psyched did have a considerable lead, at least by the end of Resort. So if Maya is able to close the gap early this time, then assuming she has another good 5B again, that could definitely put her in the lead for this race. And Psych taking a bit of a risky strat there. Just going straight into that dream block instead of lining up the dash. he is entering the longest room in Old Site, which I believe he did die on last time. Or maybe that was Maya, I forget actually. No problems this time though. Maya in the same room. Oh, actually, Celeste did take a death there. And Maya is entering Awake several seconds ahead of Sight. We'll see if Sight can come back and resort. It'll also be interesting to see if Maya chooses to go the 5B route this time. Now that, I mean, it did save her last time, but like, it's still incredibly risky no matter how good of a runner you are. So I guess she wouldn't know that she's ahead of Sight right now unless she's watching the stream. But we'll see if she wants to take that risk again. Oh, unfortunate death from Sight there, but not too costly. Oh, but it happened twice. And they're in the same room, but Maya has actually gotten the key already. Okay, so Maya unlocking that key at about 5:04 approximately. 5:10 into Big Mess. So yeah, there is about a 15-second lead from Maya here. Okay, got the spike jump. Not first try though, so it's like gaining a tiny bit of time there. Demo dash could also definitely upset Maya's lead here. I believe both runners struggled a bit with that last time. And they're both into the laundry portion. And Maya takes the fast cycle there. Psyched as well. Okay, so Psyched was able to close the gap a little, although Maya still is in the lead by a few seconds. And here's that tricky key room. Coin room. Yeah, Psyched misses that first coin again. And both runners coming up on Demo Dash here. Maya gets it first try. This could definitely solidify the... Nope, both runners get it first try. Bravo. And both runners heading into the Oshiro section as well. Okay, yeah, so it looks like Sect has closed the gap a little. But keep in mind, during the first race, he was ahead by a pretty wide margin at this point. And that race still was incredibly close. So he's going to have to fight pretty hard if Maya is able to keep up the same pace from last race. And both runners entering Ridge now. Sect losing his momentum a little bit, although pretty quick recovery. Oh, it looks like Maya may have taken a few deaths there. It's hard to tell who's actually in the lead now because the in-game times aren't synced, but in terms of real-time, Sect is ahead by a screen or two. Auto scroller skip could definitely cause an upset here, though. But Sect gets the Ultra Strat first try. And Maya goes the safer route, also gets the first try. Death from Sect there, though. And Sect is on the second auto scroller skip. And both runners have no problems with that. Good spitball room from both runners. Oh, but... Oh, Sect is struggling with this room, though. Oh, it looks like Maya has some struggles, too. Okay, and they're still neck and neck, it looks like. So now the big question on everyone's minds is who is going to take 5B? Maya was able to use that to her advantage last race. Looks like pretty standard starts from both runners. No unfortunate deaths in the beginning here. Of course, the beginning is not the hard part of sight, or of temple. It looks like neither runner went for yeet this time. And Maya is going for B again. This could make or break the race for her. Oh, it does take an unfortunate death there. Doesn't matter too much, though. Yeah, so she was able to get the button the first time is the important thing. So even though she died after that, she didn't have to do the entire screen again. Okay, and it looks like Psyched is in the unraveling section. It has Maya in the menu getting 5B up and running. So again, it's going to be hard to tell who's in the lead until they actually get back to reflection, since they're doing completely different chapters at this point. And oh no, Maya wasn't able to get the screen transition, so she's actually going to restart in the previous screen. Hopefully she can get it this time. And she does. Okay. So that was a time loss, unfortunately. I don't know if it's enough that she isn't going to save time here. But she probably could definitely break even. Probably could definitely. And Psyched is coming up on search skip here. If you take the A size, then this is the largest skip in the game. Guess first try. And Maya is entering the B side unraveling. Oh, takes an unfortunate death there. This room can be pretty costly. That's a second try though. Meanwhile, Psyched is on to Theo. And Maya gets that secret explosion boost first try. And Maya's onto Theo. Luckily, her Theo section is going to be much shorter. Okay, but Psyched is in the final two rooms again. Maya taking a death at the beginning of that. It looks like this 5B isn't quite as clean as her last one. Oh, another death there. Yeah, this may have costed her a bit. Okay, but she does get the heart, and she will be entering Reflection shortly. Okay, it looks like Psyched entered Lake Skip at about 1655-ish. So yeah, Maya is behind by a little, but it's only a few seconds. Even though in real time it may look like more than that. So the beginning of Reflection has several different forked paths. So it's interesting to see which paths different runners take. For the most part, it's pretty clear which one's faster, although the last one, some runners decided to go up here, but Psyched is going down, which is generally the more safer route, but can also be a tiny bit slower. Maya taking another brief death at the beginning of that room. Shouldn't cost too much time though. Oh, that's there too. And she chooses to go down as well. Meanwhile, Psyched is in the ravine. This could cost him his lead if he takes a death at the developer shortcut here, but he does not. And swimming through water. That swimming section is actually surprisingly difficult, despite it looking pretty easy. And Maya is entering ravine as Psyched lands another battle line boost. Okay, and Maya did take the shortcut and dies on the third developer. Takes the checkpoint and dies on the developer shortcut, so that checkpoint was worth it for her. And Maya's coming up on her battle line boost. Also nails that first try. Death from Psyched on battle line. Although the in-game time is up right now, we will be getting synced at the beginning of Summit, hopefully, so we'll be able to actually visually tell who's ahead. Okay, Insect is getting into the remix portion of the battle line here. Let's see if I can get through this room without dying. Because last time this did cost him quite a bit. Oh, and he dies again. It's hard to say if this is enough that Maya can pass him here. Yeah, it looks like if Maya can get this room first try, then she may pass Psyched. Yeah, at least in in-game time. Okay, so that's the 2256 exit from Psyched. Yeah, so both runners are neck and neck again. I think they are less than a second apart. Okay, so hopefully we'll get this synced up. And then Summit's going to be just as interesting as it was last race. Okay, both runners had a good base, and they're entering 500 meter. Looks like Maya is a little behind at this point, but not by much. Death from Psyched at the beginning of that screen. Oh, and another death from Psyched. It looks like Maya took the lead now. We might get a game of ping pong here. Maya does have a few seconds on Psyched going into 1000 meter. Good coin room from Maya. And from Psyched as well. Both these runners are hypering out of driven blocks. That's a pretty advanced strat that if it goes wrong, it could send you straight into the ground, or if there's no ground, it could just kill you. It seems no issues with that. Maya is ahead going into 1500. Oh, and Psyched takes another death at the end of that room. That one can be pretty costly. Sect is struggling a bit with 1500. Maya. This might be Maya's race to lose. Yeah, if Maya gets this screen right, then she's gonna exit 1500 with a pretty significant lead for this late in the race. Definitely not insurmountable, but this is definitely working to Maya's advantage. We'll see if the snowballs and auto-scrollers don't get in her way. Auto-scroller skip for Maya. Gets it. And the wall bounce, and she's out of there. Sect gets his snowball room first try. And auto-scroller first try. So yeah, Maya has maintained her lead coming out of 2,000 meters. So it's really going to come down to 25 and 3,000. There are some... Oh! That is a pretty costly death. But it is one that you can't afford. Oh, and Sect also has a death on the same screen. Oh, Maya's struggling with key skip. Okay. Gets it eventually. Gets key skip first try. And Maya's opting out of door skip. Now this final room can be costly, so if Maya dies here, it could definitely open the race up again. But she gets it. And Sect gets door skip. He is one screen behind, but it is a big screen, and we are nearing the end of the race here. So it's gonna take some pretty serious errors by Maya to lose this one. But we do have some flags that could happen. Okay, and both runners are in downdraft now. Okay, and Maya entering updraft. Updraft is the section that tends to have the longest flags. So deaths here especially like on these next two flags, can be very costly. I guess through flag 13 just fine. Psyche's still on her heels, just waiting for her to make a mistake. Okay, Maya at the final 6 flags here. Psyched is closing in, but I don't know. It may not be enough. Maya gets to flag 1. And unless she dies here, we are going into game 3. Good work from Maya, taking the second game of the series. Or of the round. Psyched finishing just after her. That was another exciting game, so we are getting a game 3. Very exciting, guys. We're going to take another break. We'll be back soon. Very good job to both runners. Oh, also, this is Maya's PB now. So congrats to her on that. This is, I believe, a 7-second PB. I couldn't really read the times in game, but that is a PB with 5B. So yeah, we'll be right back after a short break. All right, both runners are getting ready with their file names now, it looks like. And the first two races have certainly proved that there is stiff competition between these two. So both these runners are going to have to be on their A game for this last race. And it looks like Maya is off, as Psyched is getting his name finalized. And now we are getting synced. Again, pretty standard prologues from both runners. Okay, and looks like we are synced this time going into City. No deaths yet, but it looks like Psyched is taking a very small lead just through optimized movement. Oh, and Psyched does take a death there. Oh, another death there, so... Finally gets that spec jump. Maya is coming out of City with a slight lead. Luckily, deaths in City are always very fast, so not too much time lost. Oh, and Maya actually didn't take the usual strat for the battle line cutscene there. Okay, and both runners entering the battle line chase. Now Maya is coming up on the long room in Old Site. We have seen some deaths in this room during the last two races. Sect is on the same room as well. And both runners get through without a death this time. And Maya is entering Awake. Good clean movement so far from both runners. Good, and it looks like Psyched may have closed the gap a little, but not enough to take the lead yet. Maya going over the wall with the key. And she takes the upper route on that room. Okay, so short death from Maya before the big mess section. Not too much of an upset though. And she is gathering the last key before entering big mess. Okay, both runners are in the big mess section now. Psyched is still closing that gap little by little. And they are almost synced now. Both getting first try spike jump. And they are perfectly synced now. Oh, actually the in-game time is off a little, so actually it does look like Psyched has the lead here. But only by about 5 seconds. Oh, and Psyched takes a death trying to take the fast cycle on that laundry room. Oh, Maya takes the same death actually. And they're entering the exiting the laundry section. Final time going through big mess. Not so much of a mess anymore. And Psyched gets all those coins this time, first try. Oh, he does take a death there though. That could even things up. So we'll see how both runners do with Demo Dash. Both of them struggled in first race, and both of them got a second try in the second race. Looks like it took Maya 2 tries. Sect is struggling a bit more with this. Okay, but he does make it through. Yep, and Maya is hitting those springs again. Not too much slower than skipping them. And it does feel significantly less wonky. It's kind of an awkward room otherwise. Both runners in the final screen of Oshiro. Maya making it past that last dust bunny there. That has been known to end runs. And both runners are still pretty much neck and neck out of Oshiro. Oh, death from Psyched. During the beginning of Bridge. Oh, and death from Maya. Couple of deaths from Maya. Luckily, these aren't too costly. So definitely some auto-scroller deaths could definitely reset the lead here. And both runners are on the first auto-scroller skip. Sect gets the ultra strat first try. And Maya gets the easier strat first try. Oh, Sect looks like he wasn't where he wanted to be there. Had to retry that room. Oh, and I missed it, but I think Maya may have died there as well. Okay, and both runners get their second auto-scroller skip. And entering the harsh winds section. Maya choosing to go behind that auto-scroller instead of skip to the front of it. And it looks like Sect is leaving Ridge with a slight lead. Now, the next chapter could determine the race, assuming that Maya goes the 5B route again. Interestingly enough, last time it didn't work for her advantage, but she did end up winning the race. Okay, Sect is coming up on Yeet. He did miss that platform, though. And it looks like Maya is going for 5B third time. Oh, but she misses that button there. And now she gets the cassette as Psyched is entering the unraveling section. I believe Psyched was about 20 seconds, yeah, he is about 20 seconds ahead of where he was last when Maya was entering 5B. So Maya is going to have to perform this very cleanly in order to take full advantage of it. And Maya's coming up on the screen transition that makes her break things. Oh, and it broke. She did land on that platform and unfortunately has to go back into the screen again. That costs quite a chunk of time. But she gets a second try again. Sect getting a sturge skip. He's going to be coming up on Theo shortly. And Maya has reached the mirror section, or the mirror screen in the B side, and is heading to unraveling as we speak. Oh, takes the death of that Seeker. But gets a second try. And gets that Secret boost first try. So it does look like Maya might be in the lead here. I can't say for sure though. Her Theo section, which she just started, is significantly shorter than Sect. Actually, I may take my words back, because Sect is on the last screen of the A-side Theo. But this should be pretty close, still. And Maya is on the room that is clearly impossible. Okay, getting the heart and getting into reflection. A bit behind Psyched here, although Psyched does have some trouble with leg skip. But he has seemed to take a significant lead over Maya going into reflection. And Maya opts out of leg skip. It's interesting seeing some very different strats from both of these runners. It really proves that getting fast times, because both these runners are very high caliber, but getting fast times is not all that dependent on the strats as much as it is just the fluid movement throughout. As we've seen demonstrated by both runners numerous times throughout the last two races in this one. Insect is coming up on the ravine portion. Let's see if he can land those developers skips. The last two races he did not take the checkpoint. And he gets the first try this time as well without a checkpoint. And Psyched lands his third battle line boost, his third successful battle line boost in all three games. Meanwhile, Maya is also in the ravine section, getting those developer intended shortcuts. So it does look like 5B may have cost Maya significantly more time than the last two races by this point in the race. But then again, we've also seen Psyched have some pretty significant errors toward the end of battle line. So we'll see if history repeats itself. And we get another close sum again from these two. But it does seem less likely in this race. Okay, Insect is now entering the battle line remix. Excuse me. Death from Psyched there in that feather room. Though we haven't seen a lot of deaths in Battle Line so far. But these are the screens that count. This one in particular, for Psyched. Oh, he does die there. It looks like he was going wide with that feather to avoid the laser. It did cost him his life, though. And Psyched is out of Battle Line, and he's gonna presumably have a clean exit and get a significant advantage going into Summit this time. Maya entering the penultimate screen, and now the ultimate screen of Battle Line. Gets through it no problem, but Psyched has already left Reflection. And Maya is out as well. So Psyched screen is paused so that we can get a time sync. Alright, so our time sync is happening now. So Psyched does take a death there, but it does look like he is coming into Summit with a significant lead by Undefined. However, the race still isn't determined. As we saw last race, 1500 is really what solidified Maya's lead last time. And Summit is the longest chapter of the game, so anything still can happen. Okay, and Maya is entering the 500 meter. Psyched taking a death there. And Psyched is in the final screen of 500 meter. So I guess you could say they're about 250 meters apart, if you want to measure it in distance. Okay, and Maya missing the wall bounce there, but getting the zipper. Not too much of a time loss. Oh, Psyched having an unfortunate death there. In this room where you ultra out of the dream blocks. And Psyched is now entering the 1500 meter, where we had some pretty significant struggles last time. But it looks like he is focused now. gets the triple ultra room. And it looks like he just breezed through this race, assuming he gets the final screen here. Which he does. Maya also performing admirably in 1500. I didn't see a death from either runner in this section, actually. And Spect is on auto-scroller skip. And he gets it with the horizontal dash, which is a bit harder. Saves a fraction of a second. And Maya gets her auto-scroller first try as well. It looks like Psyched has been able to maintain approximately the same, at least going into the 250 meters. Or I'm sorry, 2,500 meters. Off by a factor of 10 there. Psyched getting a key skip first try. And Maya is also into the 2,500. Nice thread the needle from Psyched. Door skip as well. Okay, Maya also getting key skip after a few tries. And Psyched just made it through one of the longest rooms in all of Summit. Which was definitely a place that he could have lost a significant portion of his lead. Luckily he didn't. And Maya also makes it through the final room of 2,500. Both runners are entering the 3,000 meter. Celeste is actually finishing down the draft, so he definitely has maintained his lead going forward, and unless something drastic happens, he is probably going to take this race. Oh, but he does have some struggle on this flag. And Psyched is coming up on flag 13. And makes it through. If you have to die, that's not a bad place to do it. Meanwhile, Maya is also coming up on flag 13. And it looks like this summit is not going to be as close as the other two races. But still a phenomenal performance from both runners. As Sect finishes up the final flags here, he is, assuming he gets his next two flags, he is going to continue on to round 3. And Sect finishing that may have been a sub 32 for him. Yep, that was a 31:59 for Sect. Congratulations. Meanwhile, Maya coming up on the final flag as well. And finishes. Those were some great races by two phenomenal runners. Let's congratulate them both. Site will be continuing, and we will see if either runner wants to come in for a post-race interview. So while we're waiting, we've got a lot of runs today. Coming up next is a Super Mario Bros. 1 race right after this, and after that, we have some more Celeste for you. It looks like we are going to get an interview, at least from Sect. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, congratulations on your win.
Thank you. Oh man,
Yeah,
those races were so close.
They were so exciting to watch, yes.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so did you expect it to be this close going in?
Not really, to be honest, but as you have seen, I had a lot of very punishing deaths. And
Yeah.
in the first two races, I had like 4 deaths each with maybe 10 seconds of time loss. That was pretty punishing. And
Yeah.
I mean, stuff like that can happen in a race setting.
So how did you feel after Maya won the second round and going into the third race? Was it more nerve-wracking at all?
I was really nervous, and my heart is still racing.
I can imagine, yeah.
I wasn't sure if that third race or the third run would be enough.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy that one was a little bit better than the other two.
Yeah. And it looks like you were still using the 5A strats, going for that consistency. I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't practice 5B yet, and I kind of think that 5B is probably not optimal for race setting, because getting it 100% consistent is really, really hard. I don't think anybody can do that right now.
Yeah, for sure. Even though Revo probably tries a lot, but even with,
he will definitely try.
Yeah. Even with the best runners, 5B is always a huge risk.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah, congratulations on your win. And we do have a new the Super Mario Bros. Tournament coming here, so we do have to wrap up pretty short, unfortunately. But
Oh, all right.
congratulations on making it to round 3, and best of luck to you.
Yeah, thanks, and thanks for commentating.
Yeah, thank you. All right, everyone. I will see you later.
See ya.
Goodbye.